This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force. From the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting each other, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy C. Wright. And today it is an honor to have a wonderful guest that I met during a kid Reiki training. I was so blessed to be paired up with her and have a practice session. And her name is Tara Crowley. Now, let me tell you all about her. She is a certified master professional teacher, animal master professional, a teacher and kid Reiki master. And she loves the practice of Reiki, from treating people all over the world to treating animals, from dragonflies to pets and even giraffes. Her Reiki practice is all-encompassing and non-judgmental. She loves that Reiki can do no harm, and she was a long time caretaker for many family members and felt helpless when all she could do was hold their hand or visit them to keep them company. Now with this practice of this energy healing, makes her feel that she can help in a very positive way that adds to their rehab, recovery, healing, and allowing them to distress and relax. Many small and large miracles can occur, and it is beyond rewarding when Reiki helps the recipient to relax or when much larger healing occurs. From the smallest healing to the largest, from spirit lightening to releases, energy channels from the universe through her hands to the recipient, whose spirits guides them and takes over to the direct energy to where it needs to go. Reiki is truly timeless and wonderful in itself, and in addition to regular, alternative, and holistic practices and all other modalities. And Tara goes by the quote, "My universal energy practice is all-encompassing, non-judgmental, ocean-based, and done with love and compassion for all living and non-living things. It generates healing and balance at the most elemental level for the highest good of the recipient and transcends all time. Energy healing that transcends all time, miracles can happen." Welcome, Tara, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm so honored to be here, and just a wonderful program. Love talking about Reiki, and just had such a wonderful experience with you at Kid Reiki. And so I'm so thankful that we can follow up on seeing each other again and getting together.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it was truly a wonderful experience, to be connected with you. And as I was working and we were connecting our energy, I just knew that you had to be a guest on here. So I love having you here to talk about your journey as we navigate through this. Reiki is just a wonderful, relaxing modality. And to show our listeners that, you can start one place and it can take you magical places that you never could imagine. And so with that said, I gave our listeners just a little taste of who you are. So tell us about yourself.
So right now I'm working full-time in an administrator position, and I'm going to be retiring in May, and have been setting up a Reiki practice as I go along. As I said, I just love Reiki, and I've been doing Reiki with friends, animals, everything as much as I can over the last few years. And it's just a part of my life right now. I think around in 2000, my son was playing sports and had an injury, and just a lot of stress involved with, some high school stuff. And actually had met somebody through massage therapy who she recommended somebody who did energy healing. And I like that because it was distance healing. And I was like, oh, this really is interesting. So I actually had a session myself. And during that session, and it was Reiki, I saw just this beautiful, beautiful angel above me. And it was life-changing. And then after I had met her, and I always like to meet the people that I'm working with or, before. And I scheduled a session for my son. So he actually went outside and just sat in a chair out in the yard at the time of the meeting. And I was kind of watching from inside because he's just so active and everything. He's like, I'll try it, but not really buying into it. And within minutes, he was sound asleep. And you could just see as soon as the time come. And then when the time was over, he was just awake and up and moving. And he even noticed a big difference. And so I was just drawn to that. But of course, life gets in the way. And it wasn't until 2013, again, that just a lot of stress and different things going on in my life that I found my way to a medical intuitive Reiki master. And it was through her that I actually found my absolutely wonderful first teacher in Reiki. She was actually lives by the ocean, and it was just, transformative. She was the most down to earth, just kind. And the way she went through the Reiki and just brought in all different types of like the crystal healing. She's does amazing things with crystals. But it was just so transformative. And to the point that I just was ready to start my journey with the Reiki and bring it into my life. So it has been a process, and it's a lot of one thing has led to another. Like I did the Reiki and wasn't sure if I was going to go on and get the professional or teacher, and I did. And then animal Reiki, I just love. I love animals of all sorts. Even growing up, I was always the one out watching a bumblebee in clover for hours. I could just sit there for hours and rescuing animals and playing in the stream and the creek out behind my house, and just so in love with nature. And so I kind of feel like I've come full circle. I actually ended up going to college, and for some reason ended up with economics and philosophy instead of like oceanography or something. And again, I look back and it's just like, I don't know where that disconnect came, where I know it happens a lot, when you're teens and you just get involved with everything else going on in your life. And I played sports and everything. And so, but it's just through this journey with, my children and extended family. And I just reached a point where it empowered me. As you said in the introduction, I was able to help do something or feel that I could do something for other people that would make a difference instead of just handing a medicine or holding their hand out. And that is so important as well. But this just takes it to another level. And so, yeah, it was really, just one quick story. I was swimming in an outside pool, and this huge dragonfly, one of the biggest I've ever seen, was stuck in the drain. I was like, oh my gosh. So I get up and I took it from the drain, and then I took it over, kind of look around, make sure nobody's watching me, and put it down, and I'm giving it Reiki. So that's how much, Reiki is just a part of me. I did that without a thought, and if an ambulance go by, I, feel myself just throwing a blessing to the ambulance, whatever's going on, the drivers, the person who might be in there. And so it's just a part of my life. I can't imagine without it. But had you asked me, 20 years ago, if this is where I would be right now, I would have said no.
Yeah. Right. And it's just amazing where this journey takes you. Even if you veer off, you somehow get back to where you're supposed to be. So how beautiful, beautiful. So would you say that you found Reiki or Reiki found you?
Definitely Reiki found me. The universe just has a way of leading you to where you need to be at a certain time. So when I started the Reiki, I loved it. As I said, at that time I had, parents and in-laws who were, had different things going on medically in their lives. So I felt that was, okay, this is great. I can do this and work with stuff. And but then I found I wanted it more for myself. People always tell me that, you have to take care of yourself before you take others. No, 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 that's not important. I just have to take care of them. They're what's important, and then you go on until you have complete burnout, and so I just found that, of course, Reiki brought that into my life, it brought in that, no, you have to do self-care. You have to be strong in order to do this. So that actually led me to, I've worked with shamans and different attunements with saints and archangels and fairies, and just all sorts of modalities that I felt drawn to. And it really has brought out, even the kid Reiki brought out such a childlike wonder. Each type of Reiki encompasses some draw to me, some inner element within me that it appeals to, that it draws out. And I just find that just so amazing and so empowering and just very warming and comforting. So it really has. I really believe that Reiki is just leading me to where I need to be on this life journey. And it's amazing. And just I'm here, right here. I'm here with you. And if you had told me I'd be doing a podcast on Reiki 3 months ago before the class, I would say, oh my gosh, that is so out of my comfort zone. There's no way. And it's just lovely to be here and talking about it. But
Right.
it truly is. And the thing that about Reiki that I love is, for me, it's fun. I was in a car accident probably 6 or 7 years ago. Somebody hit me from behind in my car, and my head bounced off the steering wheel and crushed the orbital nerves, and had post-concussive syndrome, which I'm still, have some symptoms now, but they're getting better. But I was out of work for a year, and I could not have survived. I look back, and I don't think I could have survived without the Reiki, because it was just like constant pain, constant healing. One of the doctors who did a review, of course, you get into the disability and everything, but he was like, well, she couldn't have been in pain because she wasn't taking any pain medicine. And, that was like, oh my gosh. I was like, and people don't understand Reiki. And even if you explain it, sometimes they're like, oh, okay, but until they actually experience it, it's, you can't put words to it. I mean, let me put it this way. You can put words to it, but the feeling and the effects, you just can't until you have it. So, that Reiki helped me through that. So, I mean, I believe I was led to Reiki, knowing that I would need it along the way. And again, the universe, like, you've got to take care of yourself. Now you have to take care of yourself,
Right.
and this is what you have to focus on. And it really was, transformative, that because I had so much time to do self Reiki um, and heal from that accident. And, I've had a couple other traumas in my life, and Reiki has just been there. And sometimes I look back and it's like, where did I get that strength? And it's just like, oh yeah, it was probably Reiki and all of the guides and spirits that work with Reiki, helping me along on this journey.
Wow. What a beautiful testimony to show someone that I went through this. And by doing this, I'm able to be here today to talk about it and share it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean,
Beautiful.
that's really what it is. It's, it, that's exactly right. I
Right.
don't know where I'd be if I had taken that first pain pill.
Right.
Where would
Right.
I be at this point in my life? Because that can be life changing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as you get out there to try it, Reiki does no harm. So even trying it, say you go out and, you do an Azui training and it may not be your thing. Animal Reiki may be your thing, right? Kid Reiki. I
Mhm.
always say, find your Goldilocks, find your just right. Because when I did Azui, I'm like, okay, but then Holy Fire came along. I'm like, yes, this is it. Kid Reiki came along. Yes, this is it. Animal Reiki. So find it. There's a lot of systems out there, and find the one that works, and you can make it your own. So that's the great thing about
And
it.
that's
You can add
exactly.
your flavor to it.
Exactly. I mean, everybody, the energy is the energy. It's going to heal. There's no harm, and it works.
Absolutely.
Our backgrounds, our experiences, our environments all add, like you said, like a different flavor to the Reiki. It doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just different.
Right. And there's no saying one is better than the other.
No,
Whether it resonates with you, you'll feel that connection, like, yes, I really like the way this is, and then
mhm,
make it your own. So
exactly, exactly. And,
yeah.
Reiki to me, so after the accident, I really, I had trouble speaking and putting thoughts to words. And so I kind of was like to my guides, my Reiki guides, I'm like, kind of having trouble here, remembering or processing all this stuff. So you kind of have to have my back. If I start a Reiki session and oops, I forget to end it the right way. I used to when it first started out, oh my gosh, I have to do it this way. I have to do it this way. I
Mhm.
have to draw this. I have to do this. And that just all went away, after the accident, because I just couldn't do it. So I said, if I'm going to be doing Reiki, somebody's going to have my back. And, I got the message, well, that's no problem. I mean, and,
Absolutely.
and so Reiki became fun. I mean, to me, it's just so much fun. I mean, when I walk on the beach, I'm giving Reiki to seagulls, or, we're leaving Reiki trails. And I mean, just whatever I can do, to make a difference in anyone's life. I mean, to me is like, and they don't even have to know about it. I don't care if they know about it or where it came from. It's making what difference I can make. So I think just a quote like Mother Teresa's, it was something like, you can make a ripple in the water. And, we may not be able to change everything by ourselves, but you make that small ripple and it goes across the ocean, and you just don't know where it ends. So it's just a wonderful, feeling to live Reiki that way. And as I said, it's fun. It is just so much fun. You can even with kid Reiki, sometimes they're just drawn to the Reiki. I remember one time, oh my gosh, I stopped by this farm and there were a bunch of horses out there. And I was like, oh, look at that. And you don't give Reiki unless you have permission, but Reiki is just part of who we are. And these horses came like over and then they were like rubbing up against and nudging each other across, trying to get on the pad. And I mean, it's amazing the reaction you can get, from different experiences. It's not always the same, but the Reiki is there nonetheless.
Beautiful, beautiful. So our next question is, what is a common misperception about your work?
Common misperception is definitely the woo-woo factor, as I call it. It's just we've all, I'm sure, experienced it. There's just a lack of understanding about exactly Reiki is, but that's changed even since I, started Reiki, professionally, I guess, or taking classes in 2013. That has changed even in the last 10 years. I mean, for people's knowledge of it. Like I was out with a bunch of my coworkers and these guys from across the country. And so they say, oh, so you're retiring. What are you going to be doing? I say, I'm going to be doing Reiki, really passionate about it and love it. And they go, oh, I know Reiki. It's not the kind of the hands thing or something, like, and I said, yeah, that's kind of like what it is. But I mean, it's just, there's a misperception about what it is and the validity of the possibilities of what Reiki can do. And to me, as I said, as I'll say laughingly, it's like my woo-woo side or something like that. But, people aren't accepting of it, even in my own family. It's like, it's just nothing there. It's she doesn't know what she's talking about or something like that. So I think that's the most common misperception I've had, but I've also found that that's changing.
It is, it seems,
Over
yes.
time. And I
Especially
know,
with the help of TikTok, it's making it relevant that my children, oh, I know that for somebody on TikTok.
exactly. And,
Makes
and
it,
I just think now you're seeing the kid Reiki, although Reiki, works with children no matter what, but
of course.
kid Reiki and having these courses that are specific to them and the attunement is specific to them. And I think again, the little ripple can, go across the world. And I mean, the energy of the universe is changing to this large spiritual awakening for everybody over the next 5-10 years. And I think all of this is going to just start and catch up and just make this world, a better place.
Beautiful, beautiful. Our next question is what is something that everybody in this industry should stop doing?
Everybody should stop doing. I think probably they should focus just on the basics of Reiki. I think sometimes, you can read about all this stuff. And I think sometimes even on, different, again, social media, is just, there's just so much out there. And I think it's just just stay with the basics, and then whatever happens, happens, because you blow it up into this big thing and it just becomes more intimidating. And it's not intimidating and it's very simple. It's very basic. It's energy. It works. So I think that's the biggest problem.
Very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, what is something that you wish your younger self knew about this profession?
So again, I was just a nature girl. I was this chubby little girl that just loved being out in nature and you know, I would go out in the morning at 8 o'clock and come back when my mother rang the bell at 8 at night. And my grandmother had a place down the Cape Cod. And so when we were down here, I was in that water from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. I was shriveled, I was purple, I was burnt, and I loved it. So I just had such a connection like with the ocean and nature and everything. And I would tell that younger person that listen to your heart, go with your heart, stay in your heart and follow your dreams, because I got sidetracked. But I've come full circle. So I said, even if that doesn't happen, I would tell my younger self, you will end up where you want to be. So I think that's really is, that there is something that's going to feed your soul, and that will come to you however long it may take.
Beautiful. So, our next question is what are some qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner? So, you had mentioned a little bit about the Reiki teacher that you connected with in the beginning. So tell us some of the qualities that you look for.
So, and I want to put this out there because you really do have to research who you're going to work with. There are some who are out there, and I feel it doesn't feel right to say it, but there are some who are out there who are not just in it for the Reiki. They're
Absolutely.
much more involved with the money or the TikTok or the social media or just blowing up something. And so you really have to do research. So what I look for basically is integrity. I mean, that's the biggest thing I look for is, are they honest with what they're doing, and is their soul or, vested in it, their energy, their integrity, their energy, and their compassion. I mean, I really think you can tell a lot by looking at a website, what they choose to put on there. I mean, obviously social media can, give you all sorts of different understandings of who you're going to work with. But I really think it's, integrity, their energy, and the compassion that that you can see when you work with somebody. And I have worked with some that I had one experience, and people kept asking me because I kept going back, and they were like, well, is she really helping you? Are you seeing it change? And I was like, well, kind of. It feels reassuring, but she was doing more talking than Reiki on me and stuff like that. And finally, she made one remark like, oh, we'll keep this up and I'll have my pool paid for. So I was like, all right, I guess this isn't working. And the two people that had asked me about this and were actually acquaintances of her that I had met them through her. So it was very, so you really have to be careful, and you really have to trust in your gut. And that was at a time where it was new to me, didn't really know what to expect or hadn't had much experience in what I was doing. And it's just something you think about, just think about. Don't go in with blinders on, just, oh, this person does Reiki, this is it, this is going to be everything. Sometimes it's just not, you just have to really have a good match.
Right, right. It's all about intention too. And
It
that
is.
shows you right there. It does come out. It does. It's shown in the light. It's amazing. And those that are out there with not those good intention, the energy will block it. You'll have blockages and you won't get the clients. And you're like, what, why isn't this working? You have to reset with it. So know that. I mean, you can't twist the fabric of reality without it's, coming back and hitting you in the face. Right.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's, but so, my feeling is just, it's like with the doctor. And I know my parents growing up, it's like the doctor was, you never say no to your doctor. You do everything they
Absolutely.
say. You never question them, nothing. And now it's like, no, you have to question. You have to ask the questions. You have to go with your gut and just ask questions. And there's no like wrong question you ask, because whatever you're asking,
Yes.
you feel a need to have an answer, to. So I just do some research before you really, commit to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ask the background. I've had clients call me and ask my lineage, ask
Mhm.
me how long I've been doing this, ask for different types of, videos and things. Where can I find you to watch a session? So those are the good questions to ask practitioners, because it's a relationship. You're cultivating that. So yeah, absolutely. So what advice would you give someone who's just entering this profession?
I would say the first thing to do is make sure that you have done your self-healing, that you have done your process, your journey that had brought you to this place. And then, like I did soul retrieval, I did shamanism, I, kind of did my background and my healing. I worked with different attunements, and it just brings you to a point where you'll know if you want, how you want to incorporate Reiki into your life. If you want it to be a professional business, or if you just want it to be for yourself or your family or your pet. I mean, there's just so many ways that Reiki can benefit you on your journey. Um, and try different modalities. I think that's another big part of anybody entering this as a profession. Try different modalities, see what works, see what your comfort level is, and just keep trying them. I mean, it could change. It could change day to day, it could change week to week, but just have an idea of who you are in your center. And I think and then it will go from there. And you know what? Ask Reiki. Ask Reiki, what should I be doing about my profession? Where is Reiki going to take me? What do I want? What do I see? What does Reiki see? So I think it's really, when you're entering this profession, you got to work with the energy for yourself, and that
Yeah.
will in turn benefit your clients.
Right. Cultivate that relationship, and you give Reiki to that business card, your goals,
Mhm.
what you want. Maybe there's a part of your business that is getting too much excess energy, but not enough. So people forget that we give it to ourselves, we give it to others, but we can give it to goals and dreams and other things as well.
We can
With
give it to
that.
everything. I can give it to my
Everything.
computer. I
Absolutely.
was sending Reiki to this meeting because I was like nervous. I'm like, okay, let's send
Absolutely. Of
Reiki to the
course. Of
meeting. And,
course. Of
I'm
course.
looking out here and I'm sending Reiki to the trees. I mean, it's just, you can send it to anything, anyone. And you
Absolutely.
said it, even dreams and goals, put it there. And, there's just so much you can do. And sometimes there's so much you can do that's overwhelming. I mean, there's just so much information.
Hmm.
Say you do Reiki. Oh my gosh, then there's crystals and then there's grids and
Yes.
there's just flowers and herbs and booing, it can
Yep.
just be a lot. So that's where sometimes, you just have to pull your energy in, work with the Reiki and just, come to a decision. You know what? It will lead you to where you want to go.
Absolutely. It is a journey, that is for sure. So, what are some of the other modalities that you offer?
Okay, some of the other modalities. I mean, I work with crystals. I love working with fairies. One story I have, and I just love this, is I had bought a mermaid ring. So it had kind of the tail, it was for my pinky finger, and I just loved it. It wasn't expensive, but it was fun, and I love fun. So had bought it, and I really knew that I shouldn't be working around the house with it. But of course, what did I do? Work around the house, do laundry, take out the trash, everything, and all of a sudden I look at my finger, the ring's gone. It's like, oh, so about a couple weeks I was, looking through. I wasn't frantic about it. It was like, oh, I really like that ring. But, so after a couple weeks, I was like, okay, it's gone. So about 6 months later, I made a beef stroganoff and for whatever reason, and just put it in the fridge with foil over the cover. And so the next day I went in to get leftovers, and my ring is sitting on top of the foil of the covered bowl.
Wow.
There are no shelves in there. There are no open shelves, no place it could go. It was sitting on top of the foil. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was like, so, there's fairies around, I mean, it was just like, there's no other explanation. And I just love that part of it. I mean, it's just such a fun story. So I really like working with all modalities. I mean, I have attunements and, people look at me if I say, well, work with guides or saints or archangels, but the angels are there for anyone. They're non-denominational. The guides are there. All you have to do is ask. If you want something, need help, you just ask. You put it out to the universe, and it's not like you have to go out your front door and shout. You can just
Right.
say in your mind, is somebody there? Can you help me? Or here's my prayer, or here's my wish, or here's my dream, and can you help lead me to it? But, so I just love trying all different modalities. I mean, I've done, like the Reiki, the Azui, Karuna, Holy Fire, Kid Reiki, Animal Reiki, Shambhala, all sorts of just different things. And just, I love everything I learned. I've actually taken a step back because you reach a point where, there's just too much, and that's kind
Right.
of, I just want to pull back in and just, incorporate everything and just kind of, see where I'm at with everything. But I'm willing to try all sorts of modalities and just see where it fits in my life and with my Reiki, journey.
Beautiful. Where can our listeners find you if they'd like to book a session with you?
So right now I'm working on my website. It's timelessenergyhealing.com, and it's kind of in process. It is up, and I am taking, very limited sessions right now until May and June when I retire. So I'm just working on that now, but that's the best way to contact
Yeah,
me.
perfect. Do you offer in person and online?
Right now I'm just doing online until I, kind of get my shed set up as a studio and just see where I go. But right now it is just online.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. This is our my section that I usually ask questions for our guests, and I normally pass it over to my co-guide Millie Pampina, who was not able to be here today. So we're going to continue together on this journey where I'm going to ask you 3 social media questions. So what I do is we put it up on social media, and then I receive questions, and I narrow it down to just 3. So we're going to begin that journey together. So the first question of our social media is, can Reiki help in any way with environmental issues? Now, how perfect is this? Because you have that love of the ocean, right? The dragonfly. So how magical is, well, synchronicity, so to speak, for
Right.
this? So yeah, let us know.
There, absolutely. I mean, that's just bottom line. Absolutely. Reiki can help with anything. And it's really important that the more people that become attuned to Reiki and use Reiki, the more benefit the world will see. The more benefit there'll be in nature. And that's what I love too about the kid Reiki, because they're more apt to go up and hug a tree, or, hug a rock or a flower. I mean, and for me, that's like, kind of little out of my comfort zone or childlike zone. But you know what? I do it now. I'll go up and not, touch my tree, give it a hug. Thank you. The ocean, every time I go in, I set the intention for Reiki to be healing or to bless the water. A lot of times I'm saying, bless this water, I am love. And it's nice. These mantras or something, like I send healing to the universe. You can just say that. I send healing to the earth. I send healing to Mother Nature. And usually my Reiki sessions, I will add that, this Reiki session is for so-and-so, and also include, Mother Nature, Mother Earth, Mother Ocean, whatever. So, I mean, it absolutely can benefit. And you can just send it to an issue. You can send it to climate change with the intention that it is going to help improve or help countries and leaders realize and be responsible and accountable for their policies that affect our climate. You can send it to the government. You can send it to bills going through the government, laws being set. You can send it to rescue, for wildlife rescue or anything else. So Reiki absolutely can help environmental issues. And the more people that do this and send this Reiki to these issues, the more potent and powerful that Reiki and response will be.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the International Center of Reiki, has that once a month where we're sending world peace,
Exactly.
right, to the grids, to the world. So that's how important this is, to send it out and share the gift of Reiki with everyone. Thank you. Our next question is there a particular system of Reiki that you prefer to work with? So you shared some of the other systems that you have studied. Which one do you prefer to work with?
Again, I just think my Reiki is made up of all modalities. So I can't say, because it's like I'm just going to pull all my symbols in and see what resonates with the client. Because when this energy comes through me to the client, their spirits are the ones that are going to decide what they need. And so I just really like to just incorporate it all into like one, not a chi ball, but just this energy packet that goes to the client. So it's everything. Every modality has its own wisdom and its own benefit. And so I don't have a preference, because I combine them and just let it go where it needs to go.
Beautiful, beautiful. I
And
love that.
yeah, and when we were doing animal Reiki, we were on the social media and the webcams. So, I mean, you can reach anybody in this day and age. You can reach any area, anything. So that, we were doing the animal Reiki there, but you can also, there's webcams where you can go, and where there's wars or anything, and they have live events, and you can just be there sending Reiki to that. So each modality just, in and of itself,
Right.
wonderful
Beautiful,
to work
beautiful.
with. It is.
Yeah, I even tell my students, like, if you don't have anybody to work with, because, some people live by themselves and they're like,
Yeah.
but I'm giving Reiki to my cat, I'm giving Reiki to my dog. Get on Earth Cam, pick a location. We pull up Bourbon Street, give Reiki, put your Reiki bubble, your Reiki trails. You can go on Zoom cams, right? So there's all of this access right here on your phone, your iPad, your laptop. for you to go out and be a blessing, and they wouldn't know, right? It's
Right.
those acts of random kindness that you're sending out to the
And
world.
this is blessings. This is not, individual healing where you need protection. This
Of
healing,
course.
sending it out, and it's going to go wherever it's needed.
Oh yeah. Even if it's just, I want you to have a blessed day,
Exactly.
ease and
Yep.
grace into your life today.
Yeah. And
Right.
blessed travels, may you get where you're going safely, without worry.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
Absolutely.
again, just keeping the most empowering thing for me about Reiki is that it can do no harm. So there is nothing I can do, nothing I can do that can do harm when I'm using Reiki.
Absolutely. I mean,
And
even when you look at, I'm a yoga teacher. When you look back at the lineage of yoga, there's some stains on there. When you look at massage therapy, right? Some stains there, right? Doctors, stains there, teaching, right? I was an elementary teacher. There's some scandals in the history of being a teacher. But where are you finding it regarding Reiki?
right.
Right?
Mhm.
Where is it? I mean, it's not in the news, right? We're not finding it there. So yeah, it does no
I
harm.
think maybe we just have to, increase the chatter about the
Mhm.
Reiki we can do. But I mean, even now, I mean, the ICRT is leading a lot of this, and they're doing the research on the scientific research
Yes,
about the validity of Reiki and the difference it makes.
for
And
sure. And that's why I think I resonated with the International Center of Reiki, because it was evidence based. They cite their material, through the manual. It's like, okay, where's this information come? And then they cite it, and they have the research, and they interview the people, and they have the recordings. So they have those things to back it up. And then with the medical journals and getting the teams together and having people watch our legislation and how that's going. So that's kind of why I like that, because in a sense, with Reiki, it's kind of like the Wild West. We have so many different things and people breaking off, and they learn something, and it gets lost within like the game of telephone by the time it gets to another teacher, and then you're hearing it from something else. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, that wasn't correct, but that teacher didn't intentionally put that in that way. That's how that teacher was taught. So I like it where it's consistent with it. You open that healing touch up, someone who's training in Texas is going to get that same information who's learning in France, right? Who's learning in Germany, who's learning in Japan. So yeah,
it's just like get back to the basics. Just get
back
back
to the
to the
basics.
of the
Absolutely.
healing energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our third question and final question, Ed, what has been the most valuable lesson in your Reiki journey?
I think the most valuable lesson I've learned is that anything and everything is possible. Um, it doesn't matter where you are in this moment. You're not going to be there in that next second. There'll be some kind of change. And Reiki um, has your back, I guess. Reiki is just a part of everything I do, and Reiki can do no harm. And so I trust in that guidance. And I think, not only that anything or everything is possible, but, to me, I mean, I used to be a caretaker. It's like, let me do this for you. Let me do this for you. Let me do everything. And then, I have taken a step back, and with this journey is one thing is that I have taken a step back, and I'm in the moment right now because I can't do anything about what happened a second ago. I can only be where I am right here. And some of it's overdone and stuff. I'll be in the moment and stuff. But you know what? If you just try it, just be in that moment, and um, don't try and anticipate it. I can tell you, I can make a list, and this is what I want to get done today. And I say, okay, Reiki, here I go. Here's my list. And you know what? I think I'm going to clean the kitchen, and I'm in closets, taking out clothes and taking them to Goodwill. So, it's just, it takes you where you need, what you need to be doing the most. And so I guess, it's believing anything impossible and just trusting in the Reiki energy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, that finishes our third question and final question. But I also want to put out there, is there anything else as we were talking that came to you that you want to tell our listeners?
It's so funny. So I love Reiki. It's fun. There's scientific proof. It's in over 800 hospitals in the country now. I mean, so there is now a trend to go. And I think even some of the younger people are seeing the trend in eating healthier, taking care of your body, taking care of, your mental, physical, emotion, spiritual, social beings, all parts of you. And so I think that's just a trend. So having said that, and I talk about getting just back to the basics and letting the energy flow and everything. And one of my favorite books actually is Reiki for Dummies. So people, when I tell people that, and they just laugh because
Yes.
I mean, Reiki for Dummies. But you know what? It's the basics. It gives you just an easy, comprehensive view of Reiki in itself. So I just love that, and I think that it appeals to anybody. Anybody can read it, and and just take away from it what you will. But I mean, so for me, it's really just getting back to the basics, and
Beautiful.
just do your work on yourself, and trust in the energy, trust in Reiki, but trust in yourself. I mean, because I think that's bottom line is that's where you're living. I mean, that's your life. That's where you're living. And in that moment, every moment, just being yourself. And I can't say enough too about I have a I am app on my phone. So all of these mantras, 4 or 5 times during the day, I'm interrupted. I am wonderful. I am a magnet for money and abundance. I mean, I am beautiful. So I love that because it gives you a second where like, oh, okay, yeah, it takes you out of, off my computer and away from work and, gives me a little bit of focus on myself. So, I mean, that's something. So you don't have to forget like I do. I've got it in my notes and I don't have to forget to go and read them and everything else. So I think just do whatever you can to, keep positive things in your life. And I am is a very small one. I mean, and just, different books. One other book that I love is let me see, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And it's just a wonderful, magical book about a man on a journey and trusting his instincts and just going with them and ultimately coming full circle to where he wants to be. And that's kind of like, to me, just the magic in the Reiki at work. You've got to go here to learn this or here to learn this, but ultimately you're going to, be where you want to be. So, the more positive you can bring into your life. And I mean, even now, I don't watch much TV or news. I mean, I'll sign up for apps, alerts if something, major is going on, but, just be mindful of what you are exposing yourself to.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with our listeners. And thank you for coming on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey with me. I deeply appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm blessed to be here. I'm very honored and I'm so thankful for you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I don't think our journey is going to end. I think we'll be connecting together later on. But for
I hope
now,
so.
our Ready, Set, Reiki journey is ending. And so with that, I want to leave you with what Millie always says. And she has her little tagline is to see beauty in all things is a choice. So choose wisely. So I want to thank Tara for joining me today. My name is Tracy Seawright. This is Ready, Set, Reiki. If you are interested in having your question featured on our podcast, reach out to us at www.readysetreiki.com and social media. Check out our platform, Feather Sister Wellness, where we offer a variety of yoga classes, Reiki sessions, and Reiki training. So lots of information there. And there's going to be once a month on Wednesdays, we have a Reiki meditation that Millie does as well. But thank you all for joining me. Again, I am Tracy Seawright, and this is Ready, Set, Reiki.